around 46 miles long. But to say the lake is so big is real shallow. It only reaches around 17 feet deep at its deepest point. So there are no submarines in here. But if you look far right, you should also see that bridge back there too in the distance. See that bridge that goes over the water? See, that's the Causeway Bridge, known for being the longest bridge over a continuous body of water. That bridge stretches 23.8 miles long over all water. So you better gas up before you hit it. No turning back. But they do nickname this lake. They call this lake the Child of the Gulf because it picks up salt water from the Gulf of Mexico and mixes with the original fresh water in here. That makes this water back here now brackish water. So guys, fresh water and salt water makes it brackish. But if you keep right, you'll see boats here to your right, like little yachts over here, like the one that's in Candy World. Y'all have that on layaway right now. I'll be done in about 75 years. But now the boat's actually sitting on a canal, like that water that you see down there. That is not Lake Pontchartrain anymore. That extension is known as the New Basin Canal. And they traveled to the city, towards the French Quarter, but they ended up shutting it off, mainly to build an interstate. They saw more money coming to the city as an interstate than a canal. So they shut that canal off. Over here coming up to our right hand side, you're gonna see a concrete wall that stops the water in its tracks. That's to your right. That's where they shut the canal off. It brings more money to the city as an interstate than the canal. More money. But I'll bring that canal up again in just a minute. But real quick, to your left, you see this metal gate here with the stop signs on it? Okay, this is called a flood gate. Exactly how it sounds. Protects us from flood water. Now, if a hurricane rolls through and floods Lake Pontchartrain, too much for our comfort, they close this gate shut along the tracks that you see on the ground, and that traps the water behind us. But you want to be on this side when all that happens. But as we do cross that floodgate, we have also entered the neighborhood of Lakeview. And this Lakeview area after Hurricane Katrina was probably the second most affected neighborhood after the storm. I mean, as far as water goes, because back here they took about 14 feet of water back here too. About 14 feet. But on top of that, most of the residents before the hurricane were elderly folks. And as we all know, before the hurricane in 2005, when that storm passed, technology was nothing like it is right now. So people were left behind, due to lack of communication. But with that also being said, they were still finding dead bodies in this area after the storm back here as late as March of 2006. They were still finding bodies here in March of 06, and the hurricane happened in August of 05. So with you finally seeing how low we are below sea level and how much water we can take on a hurricane, a lot of people think we're crazy for still living here. And if you think so, I would disagree again anyway. I take a hurricane. And no, not that I like it, but I take a hurricane over any other natural disaster. Let me tell you why, guys. A hurricane is 100% predictable. Like, we know it's coming. We get a 7 to 10 day window so we can see if you want to leave for the storm or not. I mean, when you compare it to what people get in Oklahoma, I like my window a little bit more. But also up north, y'all deal with that cold weather up there. Cold weather up north, not an option. Down here, we do not do the cold. Listen, it got as cold as 20 degrees here last February, and the city completely shut down. I'm talking school was closed and work was canceled for 2 whole days, the whole city. Last time we had snow in New Orleans was in 2010. And I'm not sure if y'all ever got the chance to feel this humidity yet out here, but it's very bad. Now within 2 hours of that snow stopping, all that snow is completely gone. So if you took like a little cat nap, you missed everything. But also my folks on the west side too, you know, California and things. I ain't thinking about you. Now it's one thing that convinced me to never move out there. The other day I watched that movie San Andreas. With The Rock. No way I'm doing it. That movie is based on true events. I saw it in the credits. I know what I saw. But now, a couple minutes back, I showed you the canal, right? That was shut down to build the interstate. Well, if you look left, this green grassland used to be the continuation of the canal. It traveled back this way from what we saw was shut off. And it did take them around 12 years and around 25,000 workers to finally fill us in. But around 20,000 were Irish men coming here looking for two main things, work and freedom. But unfortunately, around 8,000 of them died, mainly because of yellow fever. Now, how you would truly contract yellow fever back then was through mosquitoes. And you know that down there working on water, and the first thing that meets and greets you by that water while you're working is a mosquito. Now you would get bit and pass out right there on the spot, but because nobody wanted to get within 10 feet of your dead body, they continued their work and built land to our left on top of those dead bodies. You ever heard of the Zika virus? Same mosquito. Hey, real quick, did you know that you can only get bitten by a female mosquito? You know that? You can only get bit by a female mosquito. Oh, that's it. That's all I got. No punchline. I know my limits. I mean, the same thing with spiders too, right? Same thing with spiders. But see, the difference with the spider is after they make their baby with their husband, they eat them. They eat their husband after they make their baby with them. Yeah, used and abused, fellas. Serve this purpose. What you say? Man, that's cold-blooded. I mean, the praying mantis do that too. Praying mantis do that. But when they done with their husband, they rip his head off, decapitate him. It's a cold world. Murder bees. That's horrible. So wait, they actually kill people or they kill other bees? Oh, okay.
Like our honeybees that we need to pollinate.
Yeah. I just found that honeybees can't fly at nighttime. You know that? Honeybees can't fly at night.
They get cold.
Yeah, can't fly. I just found out like 3 days ago. But now also through this neighborhood too, you know, Lakeview and Lake Shore. We call the surrounding areas Lake Vista. See, after Hurricane Katrina, they really suffered so bad because of a pumping station failing. And this neighborhood here is home to the first one of them all to fail. It's gonna show up at the top of this bridge. I pointed out to you. Now, if you drove in from the airport, you may have already saw this building. But it's that big beige building that sits off the side of the interstate with all the pipes running from it. That's a pumping station you saw. You're gonna see it again. It's gonna be at the top of this bridge. You're gonna see it coming up ahead to your right side. There it is. See the beige building? See those pipes running along the interstate from it? It's a pumping station. First one to fail. And as we can imagine, we really don't like it. But not because it failed first, more because of how it failed. But when I say how it fell, whoever engineered this was just not smart by any means. Because when he built it specifically on electricity. You know what happens on a hurricane, right? The power goes out. So it stopped pumping that water and made the other ones work harder. They fell one by one. No backup generator. They have a generator in the auto. I have no clue. Oh, you talking about the pennies of it? Yeah, I still have no clue. I don't know. Nah. But now, as we go through this way too, we're getting in between two more cemeteries. One to your right, and there's another one here to your left-hand side too. And this one here to your left is known as the Greenwood Cemetery, known for being the largest in the city. It's so big they have street signs in it. Should see green street signs really close. Yeah, and it'll go for a long time. Even as we talk about the one to your right, known as the Metairie Cemetery, known for being the wealthiest cemetery in the state of Louisiana. And this is also where they filmed that movie, Easy Rider. Back here to your right. The movie Easy Rider. But when I say that it's the wealthiest cemetery, it's because a lot of our well-known figures are buried in there. Like, you ever heard of L. Copeland before? You know Copeland's Cheesecake Bistro. Popeyes, founder of Popeyes, he's in that cemetery. But back there with him is Charles T. Howard. Now, before it was a cemetery, it was a fairgrounds. You know, like a racetrack where they race horses, and they would not let him join. But I can say he was wealthy, very wealthy. What he's known for is creating the lottery that some people play today, the lottery. He created that. He's in that cemetery. So when they told him that he could not join a racetrack, he brought him out. Brought the whole place. But as we go through this way too, you see now we're passing through the Uptown neighborhood. Yeah, Uptown is here to your right. This is Uptown. But as we go through Uptown, there's a college coming up here too to your right, known as Xavier University. And if you are a basketball fan up on the bus, this is not the one that you see in the basketball tournaments every March Madness. No, that was in Ohio. But this one is more of the pharmacy school. They're known for their pharmacy department, and they do good too. Because put it like this, some of the sophomores who attend Xavier down here end up getting 6-figure job offers as a sophomore in college. Really good school. Founded by Catherine Drexel. But as we go through this way, we're gonna approach another building, which is the Superdome. That's home to the Saints football team. And I still get 3 main questions about the Saints and Superdome in general. A lot of people like to ask me, is the Superdome really built on top of a cemetery? Where did the Saints get their name and where they got their colors from? Well, I'm answering tomorrow. First off, the Superdome is built on top of a cemetery. It's on top of the Garage Street Cemetery. But the Saints got their name from by us being such a very Catholic city. You see, the team was purchased on November 1st, and I'm not sure if anybody's Catholic up on the bus. But November 1st is All Saints Day. All Saints Day. See right the name of the Saints. But their colors came from their investors. The investors back in the day were oil men, and out in that oil base, they called the oil black gold. So black and gold seem right. You know that Texas tea. But here's the dome over here to your left. The Caesars Superdome. Not Little Caesars, y'all. Not the pizza place. The place in Vegas. But now coming up next to it, you're gonna see the shorter building here too to your left, labeled as the Smoothie King Center. And that's where the Pelicans play. You know, basketball team Pelicans. And most people make fun of both of those names, both the Pelicans and the Smoothie King Center. But I will defend the Pelicans only because the Pelican is our state bird. And it means a lot to us out here. But the whole Smoothie King deal, I have nothing. That's all I'm doing. But now I know, I am aware that it's a funny name for a basketball team, Pelicans and all. It's a funny name, but it was our best option because we did have other names to choose from. You see, the other names we had to choose from were the Swamp Dogs, the Clarinets, the Mosquitoes, and the Rougaroos. Go Pelicans. And if you're wondering what that was, the Rougarou, that's like a swamp wolf. It's like our version of the Chupacabra, a Bigfoot, a Sasquatch. You know what I'm saying? Nobody saw it for real, but they know it's real. That's what that is.
That's what I said.
But it's
Anyway,
still not the
homeless,
worst team name in the city, believe it or not. We have a baseball team that gives it a run
all
for us, right?
along.
Our baseball team name is the Baby Cakes.
Yeah, all along.
Yeah, like a baby and a cake. Baby Cakes.
We
It's
going back
horrible.
to the city. Remember from the airport?
Yeah, they're
we going
AAA.
back to
They're
the city.
AAA baseball. And most teams in AAA have bad names. But as we do drop down, you see now we are entering the Garden District area. And see, this Garden District back here, they're really known for their two main things. Rich soil, rich people. Now the soil back here said that you can grow anything that you want to and it'll grow up big and strong. But they're also known for what's down here to your left side too, which are the streetcar tracks. And the tracks that we're looking down on now to our left, they're home to the oldest working streetcar in use today, which is the St. Charles streetcar. Or you might just call it the Green Trolley. But as we can all imagine,
Yeah, that's
it
what
wasn't
we
always
do.
ran like it is right now, you know, of electricity. So back then what they did was they pulled it with mules. You know, like those carriages downtown? Then they started running them like steam locomotives, you know, for coal. Well, in 1929, the workers were fed up and they felt like they were being overworked and underpaid, so they went on strike. Now, during this strike, one of our most well-known foods were being created. So there were two brothers named Benny and Clovis. Now, they were streetcar conductors, but they quit to pursue their own dream in a restaurant business. Now, when they saw the workers on strike, they felt their pain and they fed them for free. But what they fed those strikers most of the time, what they fed them was French bread and any meat that they wanted. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about a po' boy, y'all. A po' boy. And if you're not sure what that is, like I described, pretty much French bread and any meat you want. But I really mean any. We do not discriminate
I
down
know.
here. I'm talking crawfish, oysters, steak tips, chicken, catfish, shrimp, even alligator. It's called a po' boy. Go get one. You had alligator yet?
Shrimp, how about that?
Yeah, it's not that bad. It's like chewy chicken. It is. But now I mentioned that we have some well-known figures in this neighborhood. Like, you ever heard of Eli and Peyton Manning before? Eli and Peyton, they grew up back in the Garden District. You know their dad played for the Saints back then. But also currently back here is Miss Sandra Bullock, you know, the actress, lives back in the Garden District. Also Drew Brees, you know, former quarterback for the Saints. Drew Brees lives back here. And even Ellen, you know, DeGeneres, the TV show host. She lives back here too. But you know, Ellen's from here though. Ellen's from New Orleans. But not to forget, my guy, Chef Emerald, you know, Lagasse. Now, he does not live in the Garden District, nor is he from New Orleans. But see, the Garden District is where Chef Emerald made a name for himself, working at this restaurant back here called Commander's Palace. But as we all know, he has a name for himself. He owns 4 restaurants in New Orleans right now. He has Emerald's, Nola's, Merrill's, and Emerald's, Delmont, and Coke. And when I bring up those 4, people always ask which one is my favorite, and that's easy. My favorite out of those 4 would have to be Nola's, which is on 536 St. Louis. That's in the French Quarter. But there's also a really good reason why I say it so quick and confident. It is truly because, guys, Nola's is the only one that I've been to so far. The only one I've been to. Really good reason. But not really good food though. Nola's, you know, like our abbreviation, New Orleans, Louisiana, N-O-L-A. It's a good spot. But now, this neighborhood that we're in, the Garden District, you see, at a point in time back then, and I mean for a long time, this entire neighborhood was being ran by a couple, like husband and wife. Their last name was Levadias, but they didn't just own a Garden District. Almost 2/3 of the city was being ran by this power couple. But as time went on, I guess they grew apart because they also ended up going through a divorce. But when they did that, they had to split everything that they owned right down the middle. You know, virtually split New Orleans in half. But what happened for the most part is that the guy ended up keeping uptown, which is around where we are, and the lady took downtown side, which is the direction that we're heading. But when I say uptown to downtown, that's just directions. So if someone say they're going uptown, they're speaking on water. They're going upriver. Just like if you're going downtown, you will be going downriver. That's all it is. That's north and south. But back to the Levidiases real quick. Like I mentioned, they split everything 50-50. Okay, to our left, you see this beige building here? The big beige building with all the windows. Now, right after this building, come down next to it, you're going to see a house sticking out. See the maroon house? That's the Levidiases' old house. That's where they used to live. But keep looking at their house. Keep looking. You can see what I was talking about. Keep looking. 50-50. Yeah, she have the other side. Nah, I'm just kidding, y'all. I'm playing. That's not their house. Now, that's actually a bar. That's a bar. The name of the place is called the Circle Bar. Now, that's a real story about the Levidiases. That's just not their house. Yeah, I just thought I had to say something about it. But also through this way, you see, now we're entering the museum district. Really known for this museum coming up here to your right-hand side, which is the National World War II Museum. Did you still want to go? Okay. Now, I'm going to be done in like 3 blocks. Yeah, so you want to get off here right now? Oh, you're so sweet. Okay, I'll come back around. I got you. No problem. Now, I still think you should go tomorrow, but I'm going to let you off. But now, I was mentioning about this museum. It's actually known for being the #1 attraction in the city and also the second-ranked museum in the entire U.S., only next to the Smithsonian. But I'm going to be honest, if you go early, because it might take a whole day or maybe 2 to get the full experience. There's a lot of stuff in there. And one of the things you have to do while you're there is go and watch that movie. And the movie is narrated and produced by Tom Hanks. It's not Forrest Gump, though. Now, it's called Beyond All Boundaries, and that's a 4-dimensional movie. It shows the whole war from a 4-dimensional standpoint. But it's a really good movie, it really is. But now we are currently on the back half of what's called the American side. And see, back then, the Americans were actually known for copying. You know, like mimicking the French. So in the beginning, I showed you the ironwork in the French Quarter, right? Known as wrought ironwork. Well, the Americans felt like they needed their own ironwork. So on this side, they selected cast iron. You know, like those skillets at home? And here's some examples, like up here to your left. You should see black balconies up here to your left side. And I'll tell you one of the main differences. See the real sharp turns on the inside, like the 90-degree turns? That's one of the things that makes this cast iron. If you remember, wrought iron was more rounded. A little more thicker too. But if you keep looking at those balconies, you notice anything strange about them yet? Not that they're little, but you notice how the balconies don't have doors to the balcony? Like you have to climb in and out of the window to get to your balcony. Now I know it may seem a little strange, but it made sense why they did it. It is because back then we were taxed on the number of doors we had on our house. Loopholes. But one last time, you'll see those black balconies again to your left. But see, now I want you to come down to the poles. I mean, don't come down on the poles, but come down to them like the support beams. And see, in the French Quarter, you're going to see the same exact poles on that side. But the ones back there, some of them are going to have spikes. Like little spikes on them. And they're labeled as Romeo spikes. You know, like Romeo and Juliet. Now see, back then, the men would actually climb those poles to get to the women. So in order to prevent them from doing that, they grease those poles and put spikes on them. But the reason why they call them Romeo spikes out of all names is because they say you'll go up Romeo. But if you slip, you might come back down Juliet. They call it Romeo Spikes. You're gonna see a lot of those in the French Quarter. But as we do approach Poydras and slowly approach Canal Street, we're making a loop. And we are wrapping up our tour this afternoon. Truly hope you enjoyed yourselves. And if you did, there's two main ways you can show so. One way is go ahead and write me a good review on Yelp or TripAdvisor.com. My name is Justin from VIP. But also up on this bus, guys, we do not solicit or demand tips by any means up on this bus. But they are greatly appreciated. Now, I said earlier in the tour that I would not be kissing anybody on the bus, so I would not be doing anything strange for change. Kindness of your hearts. But also, we are adults up on the bus, so I can let y'all off anywhere you want to go. So if you want to go back to your hotel or where I picked you up from, that's fine. But if you're ready to go to Canal Street or on Bourbon and go and get your Wednesday night started right, I'm not a judge. Wherever you want to go, y'all, call them out. Where we going? To the museum. I'm already going there with. What else we have back there? Huh?